Fatal Fury is a fighting series with a legendary lineage. Created by SNK with ex-Capcom staff who had developed the original Street Fighter, the first Fatal Fury, the King of Fighters, was a success for SNK on both their home and Neo Geo system, as well as its various home ports, such as the Mega Drive version that you're seeing here. Sequels would arrive with Fatal Fury 2, Special and Free before the fifth installment, called Real Bout, would launch in 1995. With the tagline, "The final battle, Geese Howard must go," Real Bout was a gargantuan fighting game, with the AES box art boasting a whopping 348 megs in cart size. The only way that you could play this game in 1996 was in the arcade, via the obscenely expensive Neo Geo AES system, the Neo Geo CD, or a RAM cart bolstered Sega Saturn version, which you are also seeing right now. Or you could wait a year for the heavily compromised PlayStation port. But what if you could play this on a Sega 16-bit console? What you're actually seeing right now is gameplay from this legendary fighting sequel running on a real Sega Mega Drive. This work is courtesy of Rio Gamer, an incredibly talented Mega Drive homebrew developer from Brazil. Now that country seems to have some of the greatest Mega Drive modding minds, doesn't it? This is an absolutely incredible piece of work from Rio Gamer that not only brings the feel, the look and most of the mechanics to Sega's console intact, but also includes some exciting new additions. As soon as you boot the game up, you can't help but be impressed by the presentation, with this utterly sublime callback to the old Neo Geo splash screen after the legal disclaimer, with the classic Pro Gear spec jingle and Rio Gamer's own spin on that particular logo. Once we get past the special thanks page, which features fellow Brazilian Mega Drive modding masterminds such as Pyron and Master Linkway, we get to the title screen, confirming that this is Fatal Fury Real Bout Genesis. That distinction is important, as while this is a port, it also serves as its own interpretation of both Real Bout and its sequel, Real Bout Special. This is most obvious in terms of the presentation of the versus screens, the use of stages from Special, and the appearance of Special's final boss, Wolfgang Krause. As far as characters are concerned, there are 9 distinct fighters, but 5 have alternate versions, bringing the total roster to 14. These alternate versions of 4 characters are dubbed EX versions and feature playstyles from other Fatal Fury games, altering their command lists and movements similar to how the EX versions of characters worked in Real Bout Special. The 5th alternate fighter is the most interesting addition. Wolfgang Krause has seemingly tapped into the Orochi power that King of Fighters Rugal harnessed, and Omega Krause is the result, an extremely cool new addition to the roster. There are a few missing fighters, most notably Andy Bogard, Billy Kane and Yamazaki, but considering how this version looks, plays and the size of the ROM itself, this can be somewhat forgiven. The main mode of play is arcade mode, and as we step in, it is truly impressive how well the core Real Bout experience has been replicated here. The game runs at a solid 60 frames per second, there's no input lag at all, and everything feels extremely fluid. Combos are very easy to pull off, as are the special moves. The strict commands required in the previous official Mega Drive ports of earlier Fatal Fury games feel utterly archaic next to how fluid this feels. It's honestly Saturn level in terms of gameplay execution. Super moves work exactly like in Real Bout, with both a special gauge that feels as you play, which is then further elevated if the fighter's health falls below halfway. While not explicitly stated in the original games from what I recall, here those moves are called final impact attacks, with a cool background effect that takes place when these special moves are inactive. It's also worth pointing out that Rio Gamer provided this excellent moves list that looks like it came straight out of a 90s arcade. Once again, we'll provide a link to this in the description and you can check it out and definitely refer to it as you're playing this game. I most certainly did. Now, Real Bout veterans will likely have spotted a few key gameplay differences. First up, combat takes place on a single lane, like most traditional 2D fighters, such as Street Fighter, the King of Fighters and so on. The original Real Bout and its sequel featured the 2-tier gameplay system from the first game, while Real Bout in the arcade itself was actually a reduction in the lane system from the 3-tier gameplay of Fatal Fury 3. So the tactical 3D element that the series was known for at this point is gone. Now that element had been the series calling card for years, though many will feel that the lane system will not be missed, especially as the series' finest entry, Garrow Mark of the Wolves, does not feature the lane system either. Whether it's for gameplay purposes or because the implementation of the lane system would have meant that a lot more animation and possibly some hardware intensive scaling effects that may have caused some performance issues, you do feel that Railgamer made the right call here. Similarly, the Real Bout sub-series trademark ring outs and wall breaking is also missing from this version. Unlike the lane system, this wasn't present in prior Fatal Fury games, while it was also dropped in Garrow Mark of the Wolves. Ultimately, I feel that Railgamer has made the right choices here in terms of what to cut and what to keep in order to keep the ROM size manageable and the performance high. Andy Bogard is probably the only character I think players will really miss in this version, and while the lane and ring out systems made Real Bout distinctive, they were probably little more than novelties. At the end of the day, squeezing a 348 meg cart into a 5 megabyte ROM was always going to result in some changes, and it's hard to argue with those that Railgamer has made in this ROM. The focus roster also feels supremely balanced to me. Railgamer has shared their progress on this project for months, if not years now, so you get the feeling that they have been fine-tuning every aspect of gameplay to give this product a feel more polished than most other Mega Drive fighting games, arguably more than any other aside from Street Fighter 2. And on the theme of doing more with less, Real Bout Genesis has a number of extra modes. Much like the EX version of fighters in this game, these sort of additions you'd imagine could be added without drastically increasing the ROM size, while also providing some exceptional additional content. Survival mode is exactly as you'd expect it to be, though I found it particularly hard after breezing through the core game on the default difficulty. Surely this will be a challenge that veterans of this game will keep coming back to. But the real winner here is the absolutely outstanding training mode that has the sort of options most modern fighting games would be proud of, including several states to set your opponent in, an input log, and the option to make hitboxes visible. It is absolutely sensational. Overall, this is a hugely impressive fan project, one where the amount of time, passion and dedication to its craft is here for all to see. The extra modes and characters, the finely balanced roster, the robust training mode, all put it up there with the very best fighting games the Mega Drive has to offer, in my opinion. And this is a project born of the passion of one gamer who actually asks for nothing in return. The links for the trailer for this game, in which the game files are embedded in the description below. He cautions that no one should be paying any money for his fan game. So if you have a Mega Drive or Genesis flashcard or way of emulating Sega's console, make sure you check this phenomenal fan game out. And if you've enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications to stay on top of all Sega Guys content, including our fortnightly podcast. And if you want to be extra mega, you can become a Sega Guys member from as little as 99 pence. But regardless of any of that, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the Sega side.